Yes, it is.
All right, here we go. Okay, today, 2, 9, 18, all right? So, when we multiplication is another application of creating a rectangle, okay? So here's our original problem, x plus 3 times x minus 2, okay? And if we put the tiles in, here's an x tile, and then a negative. So this represents x minus 2. Here's an x tile with 1, 2, 3, right? This is x plus 3, this is x minus 2, okay? Then if you multiply, okay, an x with an x creates an x squared. That's a square. You guys see it? It's a squared. So that is really an x squared, okay? Right? And then an x times a negative 1 makes a negative 1x. An x times a negative 1 makes a negative 1x. They just fit right into place, don't they? See how they fit right in place? And then an x times a 1 makes a 1x. An x times a 1 makes a 1x. And x times a 1 makes a 1x. We know a positive times a negative is a negative. 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 And positive times a negative is a negative. So we've created our rectangle, right? So the answer is this rectangle. So let's see what we have. What we have here is an x squared, right? I see the x squared. I've got 3 positive x's. I've got 2 negative x's, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives, right? And that would just simplify into an x squared plus 1x minus 6, right? Okay, next one's the same way. Okay, we have 1, 2 x's plus 1. See the 1, 2 x's plus 1? We've got the 1, 2 x's minus 1. And then we just fill in the area. So we'll have a x times x is a x squared, right? We get another x times x makes a x squared, right? We get another x times an x makes an x squared. Another x times an x makes an x squared. Okay, now, an x times a 1 makes a 1x. An x times a 1 makes a 1x. An x times a negative 1 makes a negative 1x. And a negative 1 times an x makes a negative x. And finally, a positive times a negative makes a negative, right? So we created this rectangle, okay? So what do we have left? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 squares, right? Those are x squareds, right? These are x squareds. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 x squareds. You guys see that? And we've got 1, 2 x's, positive x's. And we've got 1, 2 negative x's. And then we got a negative 1. Just one of those negatives, negative 1, okay? Now, that's the area. But we can simplify this, right? Because certain things are going to cancel. Those two cancel that. And we're left with an answer of 4x squared minus 1. Got it? Okay, now, on the next one, let's see if we can draw in. I want you to see if you can draw in what should go in here. Okay, just draw. Take your pencil and draw what should go in there, okay? Try and create it. Okay, try and create it. Just draw it, okay? Draw a picture. I want you to fill in C, and I want you to fill in D, okay? What you think, okay? Okay?
Mr. Davis, I can't see it.
You can't see that?
I can't see the problem.
Do you have your journal in front of you?
No,
Why don't you?
I'm the guy.
I don't get it. It's right in front of you. Isn't it page 39?
It's right. I know.
Okay, so draw a square, right? So if you're not sure, right, we're going to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw, I want to help you with the first part. We should be able to draw a square. Bad looking square, but hey, there it is, right? And that is an x squared. Ooh, that's terrible picture, isn't it, right? And an x times another x makes another x squared. Okay, with that, x squared. Right? What is an x with a negative? What's an x with a negative? It's going to be a negative. See how it fits? Be a negative x, wouldn't it? I'd have a negative x. Okay. What's x with a positive? It'd be a positive x. What's an x tile with a positive? It's going to be a positive x, right? And we know a positive with a negative makes a negative, okay? How am I doing? This is making any sense how I'm doing this? Now, an x tile with positive makes a positive x. Boy, am I ever a lousy artist. You agree with that? An x tile with a positive makes a positive x. Right? Positive with a negative makes a negative, okay? See if you can fill that in, okay? Now, when you finally get your rectangle, Spencer, I'll help you later, okay? Okay, when I finally get my rectangle filled in, my answer is looking at me, okay? What's inside the rectangle? Well, 2x squareds, right? You guys see the 2x squareds? I've got 2x squareds. 2x squareds. I've got 4 x's with 1 negative x, right? Minus 1 negative x. And then I've got 2 negatives, okay? This is how this whole rectangle thing works with the tiles, okay? So now, we can simplify that, right? So I simplify it. This should be a 2x squared plus a 3x. See the plus a 3x? Plus 3x minus 2. Okay? All right? Let's try D. Okay, let's try D. Am I going too fast? Okay, let's try D. Now the weird thing about D is, what's going to go right here? You got a positive x and a negative x tile. What goes right here? Because we know a positive times a negative is a, and it's going to be a square, so we're going to put a, what are we going to put right here? Who said that? Yes. It's going to be a negative x squared. Okay, does it make sense why it'd be a negative x squared? Because you got a positive x tile with a negative x tile, which makes a square tile. Makes a square tile, but it's going to be positive times negative, okay? What goes right here? What's a negative with a negative? So we're going to have a positive x tile. What's a negative times a negative? Positive x tile. Negative times negative is a positive x tile, right? Let's go here. Negative times a positive is a negative x tile. See how I'm doing this? This negative times a negative is a positive piece. This negative times this negative is a positive. This negative times negative is a positive. This negative with this x tile makes a negative x tile. This negative with this negative makes a positive. This negative with this negative makes a positive. And this negative with this negative makes a positive, okay? So I'm filling in the rectangle, right? I'm just multiplying this times this times this. We know negative times negative, right? Okay, what do we have? So if we figure out what we have, we're going to have a negative x squared, right? If I look inside, that's negative x squared. That's definitely a negative x squared. And then I got 3 x's, right? I've got 2 negative x's, right? And I got 3, 4, 5, positive 6. So I got positive 6, okay? Okay, now we can simplify that, right? We can simplify that to a negative x squared plus a 1x plus 6, okay? Now, so how do you multiply two polynomials? Well, one way would be to make it into a rectangle, right? And find area. One way would be, okay, make a rectangle and look at area. Look at area, okay? That is one way, okay? But, oh my goodness gracious, nobody really does it this way because it's a pain. You agree? You got to get a little tiles to do an algebra problem. So is there a faster way? Heck yeah. And if you've heard of FOIL before, right, you already know where I'm going to go with this, right? Because FOIL is so much easier. So let's do this first example. Let's do our x plus 3 times our x minus 2 with FOIL. What a weird word, FOIL. FOIL, FOIL, FOIL. Well, FOIL stands for, am I going too fast? Okay, should I wait for you? Okay, I'll wait for you, okay? I do not want to do with tiles. It's a mess, right? And I don't even draw very well. I'm a lousy artist. I admit it. Terrible artist. So there's got to be an easier way. Luckily, there is. So what does FOIL stand for? It stands for first. Outside, inside, last. Well, check it out. There's my first, okay? Here's my first terms. Outside, there's my two outside terms. Inside, there's my two inside terms. And last, those are my two last terms, okay? So, first, outside, inside, last. Let's do it, okay? One more time, what's x times x?
X squared.
X squared. So let's do first. X times x is x squared. X times negative 2. Negative 2x. Right? Inside, 3 times x, positive 3x. And 3 times negative 2 is a negative 6. Slide it up. Wow, it looks identical to this, doesn't it? Because it is. It's the same thing, but it's a lot easier, right? So let's tidy it up. These two can be combined because they're both x terms. How about x squared plus 1x minus 6? Okay. Now, before we turn the page, I'm going to say this a couple of times. There are no x to the fourths. I don't see any x to the fourths. Do you? There are no x to the fourths. There are 4 x squareds, but there's no x to the fourths. There's an x squared, but there are no x to the fourths. So when I get down here, I better not have any x to the fourths. I should have an x squared, right? Okay, turn the page. Right? Okay, FOIL. Go ahead, write it down in your own words. What does FOIL mean? What does FOIL mean? Write it down. Okay, what does FOIL mean? Right? Write it down in your own words. Right? And they show us an example of FOIL, right? I mean, there it is. They just went first. They went x times x. Outside, x times 2. Inside, 1 times x. Last term's 1 times 2. And they show the whole thing. And then they combine those two middle terms to get a 3x. How am I doing? Thumbs up? You've seen this before, haven't you? You have seen this before, right? I know. Does it surprise you? We call this geometry. It sure seems like algebra again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can blame me. You can blame me for that. You know why? Nobody uses a lot of geometry, but everybody uses algebra. If you're going to take more math, you'll have a little bit of geometry and a lot of algebra. Now, if you can't do algebra, you're going to be in trouble for the next few math classes, right? So you can blame me. I chose a book that has lots of algebra in it, okay? For those who are heading on to pre-calc and calc, they'll say the biggest reason kids can't do calculus is because they can't do algebra. It's all about algebra, okay? Okay, let's move on. All right, let's do this, okay? It says distributive property, but it really is double. Write that word. It's really called double distribute. Now, I sometimes call it double distribute or FOIL. Same thing. Same thing, okay? Watch. X times x. X squared, right? X times negative 1. Negative 1x. Negative 2 times x. Negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 1, okay? Double distribute. I just distributed twice. It distributed the x and it distributed the 2. It basically is FOIL. Okay? So I went x times x, x times negative 1. Then negative 2 times x, then negative 2 times negative 1. Okay? So what do I get? Combine those two. X squared minus 3x plus 1. Okay? Thumbs up?
I have a question.
Yeah, Luke.
Is negative 2 times negative 1 positive 2?
Oh my goodness, Luke. Yes, thank you for my dumb mistake. I admit it on film. Dumb mistake. Thank you, Luke. Good. Nice job. You're on top of this. I like that. Okay, how about number 2? I make mistakes all the time, don't I? Yeah, I know the math. Okay, give number 2 let's give number 2 a try on your own, okay? Okay, number 2 on your own. Okay, number 2 on your own. Phone away, Ben. I'll borrow it back. Give me your phone. You're not.
Brains.
You're not. You're okay. Okay, give number 2 a try on your own. Everybody try number 2 on their own. Do you ever try? Come on, everybody try number 2. Try number 2. Okay. These are squares. How many have?
I know. What?
These are x's. How many x's do you have?
It's identifying.
These are negative x's. 2x and minus 1. Just keep those.
But how'd you get 2G? How'd you get 2G? That's just 6.
All right, here's what I got for number 2. Okay, number 2, I got a b squared plus a 2b minus a 3b minus 6, right? Everybody get that so far? And answer b squared minus 1b minus 6. Hands up. I want to see, did you get that answer? Okay. Seem pretty easy? Okay, try 3. Give 3 a try. Okay, give 3 a try. Okay, did you get g squared plus 4g plus 2g plus 8? Thumbs up so far?
Yeah.
Okay, right? These two make a 6g, right? So I get a g squared plus a 4g plus 8. Okay, let me see. Let me see. How many kids got that?
Wait.
Go ahead. 6. I said 6 and I wrote 4. Yeah, I said 6. Man, I tell you, I need better sleep. All right. Let's skip down to 5. Okay, let's skip down to 5. Let's skip to 5. Okay, everybody give 5 a try. Everybody give a try. Just give it a try. Okay. It's easy. We already know how to do it, right? We can come back to the lunch, but I know how to do it, right? Yeah, let's do 5. Because there's some harder ones in the back, and I want to give you time to work on your computer. That's the main reason.
Why would you do that?
So you can get your homework done, right? Okay. So, 3n squared, right? Plus 3n, right? Minus 4n minus 4. Okay? Thumbs up so far? Combine these two. 3n squared minus 1n minus 4. Hands up. Did you get it right? Okay, I see a few hands up. Okay, if you're still not there, we'll keep working. Now, let's move to 7. Now, number 7, they're doing FOIL, but they're going to try and say, let's do it on this weird table because they're trying to represent area. So we put a little times sign here, times, because we're multiplying, right? A little times sign. And we got an x, we got a minus 3, we got an x, and we got a minus 2, okay? This is how this rectangle works, okay? We put our x minus 3 here and our x minus 2 here, okay? And we just multiply box to box, okay? Just like we would do you remember those old little multiplication table charts, right? That's all we're doing. We're going to, go across x to x. X times x is a x squared, right? X times negative 3, negative 3x. X with a negative 2, negative 2x, right? And the negative 2 with the negative 3, positive 6. Now, I don't like doing it this way, but the book wants to show you. I personally do not like this way because then I got to figure it all out. I got to unjumble it. So really I have an x squared minus 5x plus 6, okay? Okay, I wanted to show that, but I'm only going to show one of those because I don't do it that way. I do it the FOIL way, okay? I do it the FOIL way, okay? Okay, ready to turn the page? All right, now, we are going to skip all the way down to number 19. All the way down to number 19, okay? Now, the problem with the word FOIL, is first, outside, inside, last doesn't work with this, right? But we are going to do this. Watch. Got to listen. We're going to distribute. The x is multiplied here, here, and here. The x is going to be multiplied here to the x squared, here to the x, and here to the negative 1. We'll do that first. Then we'll take the negative 2 times this, this, and this, okay? But let's do the first piece first, okay? X times x squared is an x to the third. X times x squared is an x to the third. Because when you multiply the same base, you add their exponents, right? X times x is x squared, right? X times a negative 1 is a negative 1x. Okay? Now, let's do negative 2 times x squared, negative 2 times x, and negative 2 times negative 1, okay? Now, I'm going to do something I want you to see that helps. So x times, negative 2 times x squared. Negative 2 times x squared is a negative 2x squared. I'm going to put it right here because I like to line them up so I can add them, okay? I put the x squareds with the x squared. See how I did that? And when negative 2 times x squared, I put it right there. See, that way I got them lined up. Negative 2 times x and negative 2x, I'm going to put it right here. Right? I'm going to put it right there so I'll line them up. Negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2. Okay? Then, everything's lined up. So when I add them, x squareds are with x squareds, right? X squareds with x squareds. X's with x's, and I can just add straight down. Okay? So I get an x cubed minus a 1x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right? Let's do one more of these, and then I'll stop. Okay, let's go down, and let's try and do 23 together. Okay, let's move down to 23. Okay, all right. So we're gonna take the 3n squared times 2n and 3n squared times the 1. Okay, so we got to take the 3n squared times both of these. Then we'll take the 2n times both of these, and then I'll take my negative 5 times both of these, okay? I'll take my 3n squared times both of these, then my 2n times both of these, then my negative 5 times both of these. So let's do it. 3n squared times a 2n is a 6n cubed. 6n cubed, okay? 3n times a 1 makes a positive 3n squared. Now we're going to take the 2n times both of these. So 2n times 2n is a 4n squared. Let's put it right here so we line up the n squareds. 2n times 1 is a 2n. Let's put it right there. Now let's put the 5, negative 5 times both these, right? So it is really just distributive property, but distributive property 3 different times. So negative 5 times 2n is a negative 10n. Let's put it right there so I line up my n's with my n's, right? And negative 5 times 1 is a negative 5. Okay, so I should be able to add things up all the way straight down. Okay, so 6n cubed, right? 3n squared and a 4n squared is a positive 7n squared. Not to the fourth. No, no, no. 3n squared plus 4n squared is a 7n squared. Not to the fourth. No, no. 2n negative 10n makes a negative 8n. Not n squared. Minus 5. Now, we have to stop there because you can't put these together. They're all different, aren't they? They're all different. So that's your answer. All right. Let me stop the recording. Let's see if I can get it